coaching some of the people that you're coaching, what do you think are some of the obstacles that are in the way of people finding success in the different types of relationships in their life?
Hmm. One of the best things that I took a chance on was enrolling in a certification, and it's called Primal Question Certification, and it's based on a book from Mike Foster. And it just kind of talks about our needs. And again, some of those things that, depending on our family dynamics and maybe women specifically, like we weren't really encouraged to have needs. Maybe that was a sign of a weakness or a sign of, just not being mindful of what other people needed. And so again, kind of just feeling like you weren't able to share or to be, I would say, mm, confident or encouraged to share those things. So what has really helped me, and I similarly to the ladies that you had referred to, just not really knowing how to process that, how when I was younger, my mom had several divorces and marriages. And so it was kind of I would say unstable. I mean, our mom loved us and she would do anything for us. But in her, I feel seeking of security and safety, when she didn't feel safe or secure in a relationship, she maybe didn't know how to navigate that. Maybe there were other factors, but then instead of kind of trying to work on that and stay the course, it was an opportunity to, move on from that relationship and maybe try again. So she was continuing, I think, to try to find herself and just did, the best that she could. She was a single mom a lot. She had a lot of weight on her shoulders. She had sometimes two jobs. And so I think as, in the home, we just were managing the next thing. And again, didn't really feel like we should be sharing, our challenges because there was enough challenges, going on without that. So not wanting to be a burden or not wanting to add weight to the situation. Um, but as a result of those experiences, which on the primal question that I referred to, there's a quiz on my website that you can take, but it goes through our highest emotional need. So when you take the quiz and it basically boils down to, is your highest emotional need, am I safe? Am I secure? Am I loved? Am I wanted? Am I successful? Am I good enough? Or do I have a purpose? So it helps to kind of, I want to say narrow down because of course we all have a little piece of that, but really based on our childhood and the way that we connected the dots as kids. So, and sometimes it's not even maybe a parent child relationship. Maybe it was an extended family member, that did something or that you were a part of that created kind of that need. And go forward, you're basically trying to get that need met, whatever that looks like. So for me, in learning more about myself, taking the quiz, getting, some coaching around that, mine was, am I wanted? And a lot of people that kind of have gone through, maybe divorces or unstable life, home life, am I wanted or am I loved is very prominent. Now, likely, like if there was maybe a situation or a home life where, the making ends meet was challenging, or, they didn't feel safe, with a particular parent or family member, then they might tend to feel that if their safety or security is at jeopardy, then they're going to fight and do whatever they need to do to feel that safety and security. So, for example, and my mom has taken this and she's very supportive. Hers is, am I safe? So she would definitely, I think, agree that when she did not feel safe, she would try to make those situations different. That sometimes did lead to a divorce or to a marriage, a different marriage seeking that need. So for me, as I continued to grow up and went into like junior high, the need for wanting came in the way of like boyfriend girlfriend relationships. So I would, to your point with your the ladies that you talked about, like I would never, I was always in a relationship. So I would not like leave a relationship or like break up with a boyfriend until I had another one in the wings. Like I just did not know how to be alone. Like that's petrified me. And unfortunately though, because of the am I wanted, like if I never really felt like people liked me for me. Like I felt like there had to be something that I could had to give to the situation. Whether it be physically or support or, being available 24/7. Like it's hard to know, it kind of just depends on what the situation was at the time. But I never really felt like maybe people were interested or loved me for me, that there was always something more I had to bring to the situation. So, kind of in relation to that, I got in trouble in junior high. Shocking that, the parents, when you're a kid, you're like, I got this. And then, as adults, they look and you're like, wait a minute, these things are not adding up. Like you are not going to track practice. You're going to hang out with some boy after school. So their I don't know, solution was to take me to counseling, which I was like, heck no. And then the second solution was to go to church. And I figured, well, this is going to be kind of short lived. Like, we're just going to go a couple weeks and then dust is going to settle and then we're just going to move on and do something else. But we kept going. So at that point, I'm like, all right, I guess I need to get some, invest in this situation and meet some new people. So I started going to a high school youth group. And honestly, at that moment, that was when I was probably eighth, ninth grade. For the first time, I saw that there were a group of people that just liked me for me. There was nothing I had to give. There was nothing they were asking for. There was no like, exchange that I had been used to. And I wanted that. Like they just seemed content and confident and, just peaceful. And thankfully, it's funny how when we have those, like I was in trouble technically, and that was their solution, but it was probably meant to be, the thing that was able to kind of turn a little bit of the trajectory how I was headed towards a lot of those unhealthy habits. So that was amazing. And as a result of that, decided to go to a Christian high school, which I was excited about. It was my choice. Most of the other people there, that was just kind of the way that they, grew up. So I don't know if they, felt like it was as much of a gift as, I was feeling at the time. So it was like a new door opened. And so in a way, not that I still didn't value being wanted, but I could see what it looked like to have healthier relationships and to have people that really, believed and loved you for you. Um, so as I continued on, we all make mistakes as a result, even though we have new knowledge and a new perspective. Unfortunately, growth isn't linear, which I wish it was. So sometimes we're like going, and then other times it just gets all scrambled up, and you're just like, oh my gosh, what happened? Okay, we got to start over. So in my high school year, there was just some life things that happened, and it really put me in kind of a spiral of not feeling that wantedness, not feeling included, not feeling like I knew where my place was. And I reverted back to those old habits of physical touch and, finding love or thinking that it was love to help me kind of get regrounded again. And as a result, I had an unplanned pregnancy. And at the school that I went to, because of its environment, there were upperclassmen ahead of me that had that same experience. And once they were honest and upfront about it with their staff, they were asked to leave.